Now that we have understood Purusha Suktam to some extent, we need to understand the essence of Shri Suktam. We have understood the Purusha. We have to understand Shri Mahalakshmi, Jagannmata, as praised by the Shri Sukta Bhagam. Matradevo Bhava, Pitradevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. These Vedic aphorisms that state, treat your mother like God, treat your father like God, treat your Acharya like God, treat your guest like God, is central to Sanatana Dharma, our Vedic civilization, and our very family system and our thought processes. Though in Sanskritam, pa, the letter pa comes before ma, pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. Pakaram is pita, makaram is mata. But we don't say Pitradevo Bhava and then Matradevo Bhava. We don't go by the order of the letters. We say Matradevo Bhava and later Pitradevo Bhava. Mata putrasya bhuyamsi karmanyava rabhate. 100 times more than the father, the mother is very important. Of course, we discussed Purusha Suktam about the father first. But now why do we have to discuss the mother later? Because the warm-up session was for the father. But Vedam states mother is very important. Who is the mother? Jagannmata Shri Mahalakshmi. Vishnu Puranam states, Nityaivesha Jagannmata Vishnu Shrir Anapayini Devatve Devadeheyam Manushyatve cha Manushi Raghavatve Abhavat Sita Rukmini Krishna Janmani. When the Lord chooses to be the Deva, she is the Devi. When he is Ishvara, she is Ishvari. When he chooses to be born as Manushya, she becomes a Manushya Stri. When he is Rama, she is Sita. When he is Krishna, he is Rukmini, says Vishnu Purana Vachanam. Now, let us understand what Rama says. He says, Na jiveyam kshanamapi. I will not survive even for a kshanam without Sita. And then he goes on to state, Na jiveyam kshanamapi vinatvam asitekshana. Without that beautiful eyed Sita, I cannot survive. Maricha also states, when Rama was a brahmachari and he had to protect Vishwamitra's yajnam, he drove me so many yojanas away. Now Rama is all the more strong. He is now married to Sita. His splendor will be multifold times more. So if he drives me, where will I go? Yasyasa janakatmaja aprameyam hi tattejaha. So our commentators, ancient commentators, have unanimously opined that his Rupam, Swarupam, Saundaryam, Lavanyam, Audaryam, Gambhiryam, Sthiryam, Dhairyam, Saushilyam, Saulabhyam, Satyakamam, Satyasankalpatvam, all these auspicious attributes of the Lord, the presence of these qualities in the Lord is only because of her presence. So if it was not for Shri Mahalakshmi, he would not be the Lord at all. So Parashara Bhatta, one of the very famed Acharyas and poets, states, Apanga bhuyamso yadupari param brahma tadabhut. It seems Mahalakshmi was looking here and there. She wanted to create Parabrahmam, so she looked at the Lord. The moment she saw him, Narayana, Narayana became Parabrahmam. See how interesting this poetic description is. The truth is, Parabrahmam is the divine couple. But the way Parashara Bhatta suggests is as if Mahalakshmi herself is creating Parabrahmam. There is another verse that describes the greatness of Mahalakshmi. Around the 9th and 10th century, Yamuna Acharya states, Ishat tvat karuna nirikshana sudha sandrukshana drakshate. नष्टं प्राक् तदलाभतः त्रिभुवनं सम्प्रत्यनन्तोदयं श्रेयो नह्यरविन्दलोचनमनः कान्ताप्रसादाद्धृते संसृत्यक्षर वैष्णवाध्वसु नृणां सम्भाव्यते कर्हिचित्. By her glance and grace devotees get Aishwaryam, Kaivalyam and Paramapadam. So Samsrit Akshara Vaishnavadhvasu Nrinam Sambhavyate Karhichit. In another verse, Parashara Bhatta states, Asyeshana Jagata iti te dhimaheyam samriddhim Shrihi Shri Suktam Bahu Mukhayate Tam cha Shakhanu Shakham. Ishte Kaschid Jagata iti yaha Paurushe Sukta Uktastam cha Tvatkam Patimadhi Jagada Uttaras Chanuvakaha. The one who is celebrated, Asya Ishana Jagataha, the one who is the empress, the queen of the entire world in Sri Suktam, is the one who is also celebrated as the Lord in Purusha Suktam. In other words, if I celebrate Purusha and Purusha Suktam, there also Mahalakshmi is invoked as the Pratipadya Devata. So without Mahalakshmi there is no Narayana. So Sri Suktam talks about Lakshmi exclusively. Purusha Suktam also talks about Lakshmi while speaking about Vishnu. So it is wrong for us to assume that Lakshmi is spoken only in Sri Suktam. She is spoken in the Purusha Suktam as well. So Mahalakshmi's greatness, where do we come across this? We come across this in many works. I will describe the works that describe the greatness of Mahalakshmi, and then let us get to our Vedic course, the essence of Vedas through Sri Suktam. Where is Sri Mahalakshmi celebrated? Rāmāyana, while Valmiki had composed, he called it Rāmāyana. Later he has a paschatapam. He feels bad for having called it Rāmāyana. He says, this is not Rāmāyana, this is Sita's Charitram. You may all think I am talking about Rama. Yes, Rama comes as an important lead, protagonist. But this is more about Sita. Had Sita not married Rama, had Sita not agreed to come to the forest, had Sita not allowed herself to be kidnapped by Ravana, had Sita not showered her grace on Jatayu, had Sita not given enough confidence to Hanuman, who would have given confidence to Rama, how would Rama would have come constructing the bridge, winning over Ravana? It is because of Sita that Ramayana attains greatness, says Valmiki. Kavyam Ramayanam Kritsnam Sitayas Charitam Mahat Paulastya Vadham Ityevam Chakara Charita Vrataha. So Ramayana is nothing but the greatness of Sita, who is Sri Mahalakshmi or Shri. Vishnu Puranam, one of the greatest Purānās, though short, describes Tattvarthams. It says, Namasye Sarvabhutanam Jananim Abjasambhavam Shriyam Unnidra Padmakshim Vishnu Vakshasthalassthitam. The one who stays in Vishnu Vakshasthala. So this is Vishnu Puranam. Vishnu Puranam has one particular section called as Shri Stuti. Indra does Stuti to Sri Mahalakshmi in that particular portion. Then you have got a very traditional set of 108 names of Lakshmi called as Lakshmi Ashtotram. Prakritim Vikritim Vidyam Sarvabhuta Hitapradam Shraddham Vibhutim Surabhim Namami Paramatmikam Vacham Padmalayam Padmam Shuchim Swaham Swadham Sudham Dhanyam Hiranmayim Lakshmim Nitya Pushtam Vibhavarim Aditim Chaditim Deeptam Asudham Asudharinim Namami Kamalam Kantam Kshamam Kshiroda Sambhavam Anugraha Param Buddhim Anagham Harivallabham Ashokam Amritam Deeptam Loka Shoka Vinashinim Namami Dharma Nilayam Karunam Lokamataram Padma Priyam Padmahastam Padmakshim Padmasundarim Padmodbhavam Padmamukhim Padmanabha Priyam Ramam Padmamala Dharam Devim Padminim Padmagandhinim Punyagandham Suprasannam Prasadabhimukhim Prabham Namami Chandravadanam Chandram Chandrasahodarim Chaturbhujam Chandrarupam Indiram Indushitalam Ahlaja Jananim Pushtim Shivam Shivakarim Satim Vimalam Vishwajananim Pushtim Daridranashinim Pritif Pushkarinim Shantam Shuklamalyam Barabshriyam Bhaskarim Bilvanilayam Vararoham Yashaswinim Vasundara Mudarangam Harinim Hemamalinim Dhanadanyakarim Siddhim Trainasaumyam Shubhapradam Ripaveshmagatanandam Varalakshmi Vasupradam Shubham Hiranyaprakaram Samudratanyam Jayam Namami Mangalam Devim Vishnuvakshasthalasthitham Vishnupatnim Prasannakshim Narayana Samashrutam Daridradvamsinim Devim Sarvopadrava Varinim Navadurga Mahakalim Brahma Vishnu Shivatmikam Trikalajnana Sampannam Namami Bhuvaneshwarim. These 108 names of Sri Mahalakshmi has been accounted as Lakshmi Ashtottara Shatanamavali by all our Purvacharyas. Then there are a set of 1000 names of Sri Mahalakshmi called as Lakshmi Sahasranamam. There are two versions of Lakshmi Sahasranamam. One is a traditional account. We do not know who gave this. It begins like this. Shri Vasudeva Mahishi Pum Pradhaneshwareshwari Achintyananta Vibhava Bhava Bhava Vibhavini. This is one version. From this continues the 1000 names of Mahalakshmi. There is another version which goes like this. Nityagata Nanda Nitya Nandini Janaranjani Nitya Prakashini Chaiva Swaprakasha Swarupini. This is another version. Now, Pancharatra Agamam has a Lakshmi Tantram with 57 chapters and 3000 plus verses. It goes like this. Namo Nityana Vadyaya Jagataha Sarvahetave Jnanaya Nistarangaya Lakshmi Narayanatmane. This is how this begins. Pancharatra Agamam. Then amongst the Acharyas, we have Adi Shankara, who lived between 788 and 820 CE, who gave us Kanakadhara Stotram, Angam Harehe, Pulakabhushanam Ashrayanti, Brinhanganeva Mukula Bharanam Tamalam, Angikrita Kila Vibhutira Pangalila, Mangalyadastu Mama Mangala Devatayaha. Next is Yamuna Acharya, who lived between 916 and 1041 CE. He gave us Chatushloki, Kantaste, Purushottamaha, Panipatihi, Shayyasanam, Vahanam, Vedatma, Vihageshwaraha, and so on. Next we have Rāmānuja, who lived between 1017 and 1137 CE, who gave us Sharanagati Gadyam. In that there is a Churnika that talks about Mahalakshmi. Akhila Jagan Mataram, Asman Mataram, Asharanya Sharanyam, Ananya Sharanaha, Sharanamaham Prapadye. Next, Kuresha, who was the great disciple. When I say great, it has nothing to do with the great-grandchildren or anything of that sort. That means of a greatness. The disciple of Rāmānuja, that Kuresha in his Stotra Prabandham called as Shri Stavam celebrates the greatness of Mahalakshmi. Swastir Shri Dishata Asesha Jagatam Sargopasargasthitihi Swargam Durgatim Apavargikapadam Sarvancha Kurvan Harihi Yasya Vikshya Mukham Tadingita Paradhino Vidatte Khilam Krideyam Kalu Nanyathasya Rasada Syadyaika Rasyastaya. So this is how Kuresha's stotram begins. Then we have Parashara Bhatta, who was the son of Kuresha, who gave us a beautiful work called as Sri Guna Ratna Kosham. He states, Ullasa Pallavita Palita Saptaloki Nirvaha Korakitanema Kataksha Leelam Sriranga Harmyatala Mangala Deeparekham Sri Rangaraja Mahishim Shriyam Ashrayamaha. That is one a verse. Then we have Vedanta Deshika, who lived the very celebrated towering personality of Sri Vaishnava Sampradayam. Vedanta Deshika lived between 1268 and 1369 CE. He has dedicated an exclusive work called as Shri Stuti towards Mahalakshmi. Manatitaf pratita vibhavam mangalam mangalanam bhakshaf pithim madhuvijayino bhushayantim swakantya pratyakshanu shravikamahimaf prarthininam prajanam shreyo murtim shriyam asharanastvam sharanyam prapadye. So this is how this prabandham goes. Then we have Kumara Varada, who gave us this beautiful work called as Lakshmi Shatakam, 100 verses on Mahalakshmi. He was the son of Vedanta Deshika. Later in the disciple parampara, Sishya parampara, we have a great poet called as Venkatadhwari Kavi, who composed 1008 verses on Sri Mahalakshmi called as Lakshmi Sahasram. So in all these stotrams, beginning from Rāmāyanam till Lakshmi Sahasram, Mahalakshmi or Shri has been celebrated. But for all these works, be it Srimad Rāmāyanam, Shri Vishnu Puranam, Lakshmi Ashtotram, Lakshmi Sahasranamam, then Lakshmi Tantram, then we have Kanakadhara Stotram, we have Sharanagati Gadyam, Chatushloki, Shri Stavam, Shri Gunaratna Kosham, Shri Stuti, Lakshmi Shatakam, Lakshmi Sahasram. For all these works which have come to us in the form of Itihasas, Purānās and Purvacharya Stotras, what is the basis which has given inspiration to all these kavis? It is nothing but Shri Suktam, found in the Rig Veda. What is Shri Suktam and where is it found? Shri Suktam is that particular Sukta Bhagam which describes the greatness of Mahalakshmi, found in the Khila Bhagam of Rig Veda. What is Khila? See, Nilakantha, who was the commentator to Mahābhārata, states, Parashakhiyam svashakhayam apekshāvashat pathyate tat khilam uchyate. That which comes as a appendix portion, that which is being added by our rishis in the Vedic times, is the Khila Bhagam. So that is Shri Suktam. So the Shri Suktam, Shri, that particular Nama of Mahalakshmi, Shri, you don't have to even call it Shri Mahalakshmi. Shri itself means Mahalakshmi. What does that Shri word denote? Because Shri is a letter, it is also a word. What does that denote? Shrunati nikhilan doshan Srinati cha gunair jagat. Shriyate chakhilair nityam Shrayate cha parampadam. Shrayantim shriyamanam cha shrinvanti shrinvatim api. The one who annihilates the doshams committed, sins committed by her devotees. The one who cultivates good gunams, good qualities in her devotees. The one who makes herself all the time available for the devotees to reach her. The one who carries the message carried by the devotees to her, to the Lord. The one who allows him to bless the devotees. The one who coaxes him to bless the devotees is Shri. So 6 functionalities she performs, so she is called as Shri. That greatness of Shri, which is Mahalakshmi, this Shri Suktam celebrates in the 5th mandalam. That's what they state. Here the commentator states that this is found in the Khila Bhagam of Rig Vedam. This has 15 mantras in it. Yashuchir prayato bhutva juhuyadajyam anvaham shriyam panchadasharcham cha shrikamaha satatam japet. So panchadasharcham cha. So the shloka says that there are 15 riks attached to Shri Suktam. Panchadasha, pancha 5 dasha 10, 5 10 15. Panchadasharcham cha Shri Kamaha Satatam Japet. The one who wishes to obtain the grace of Shri Mahalakshmi has to recite this. States this particular Shri Sukta Bhagam. Of the 15 riks, Pancha Dasharcham Cha, that is associated with the Shri Suktam, the first rik goes like this. Hiranya Varnam Harinim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jata Vedoma Avaha. Who is this Jata Veda? Here the commentators state, He Agni, it means Agni. As mentioned before, the first 3 portions or divisions of the Vedas, which is Brahmanam, Aranyakam and Samhita, is the Karma Kandam. From this comes the Sutras and thereby Karma Mimamsa. In Karma Kandam, the invocation will always be towards Agni because it deals with Karma, it deals with Agni Karyam. So all the invocations that we see will be towards Agni, and from Agni it will go to a Devata, be it Indra, Varuna, Yama, Mitra Varuna and so on. But the Antaratma to Agni is Paramatma Sriman Narayana, who has also been mentioned by the commentators. So the first rik of Shri Suktam goes like this. Jata Vedaha. Hey Agni. The commentators mention, Hey Agni. Lakshmi Pate Jatam Svatasiddham Vedaha. So here it also means Lakshmi Pate, the consort to Lakshmi. Jatam Svatasiddham Vedaha. Svataha Siddham, that which is there, always there and ready, which is Vedam. Svatasiddham Vedaha. Dhanam va Jnanam va Yasho va Yasya sa Jata Vedaha. Be it for Dhanam, wealth, Jnanam va, knowledge, Yashova, for fame, Kirti, Yasyasa Jata Vedaha. To that Jata Veda, to that Agni, to that Lakshmi Pati, my salutations. Svatasiddham, Vedodhanam Yasya Saha, Jata Vedo iti Vishno Sambuddhihi, Jata Vedase Sunavama Soma iti Mantre Paramatmani Prayogat. In Durga Suktam, which we will be discussing subsequently, Jata Vedase, it begins. So again there also it means Agni, and the Antaratma to Agni Paramatma. So he says, Vedacharya says, Mantre Paramatmani Prayogat. So it mentions Paramatma there. So be it Agni or to Sriman Narayana, the first Rik says, Me avaha, give that to me, bring that prosperity to me. How should he bring? Mahyam madartham ahvaya, mama sarvabhishta sadhanaya preshaya. Give me that whom he is going to ask, which will grant him all ways to prosperity. Evam bhutam tam lakshmim tvat samashrayanoon mukhasya sarvopakarana samriddhyartham sannidhapaya. Give that Lakshmi to me, who will bring all channels of prosperity. Who is she? First, Jata Veda, me avaha, bring that prosperity to me. Who is going to bestow that? Now, the descriptions of Sri Mahalakshmi begin. Hiranya Varnam, Hiranyasya Suvarnasyeva Varnaha, Kantir Yasyastam, Hiranyasya, of that of gold, Suvarnasyeva, Hiranya or Suvarna, whichever way we mention, it mentions the same object, aurum. In periodic table, we recognize gold through the symbol AU, aurum. So he says, Kantir Yasyastam Swarna Kantim, that one who has the splendor, the radiance of that of gold, Swarna. Hita Ramaniyam, one who is both good to look at the same time one who bestows auspiciousness on us. Let us take, for example, a very laukika example. Mothers will cook bitter gourd for us. That vegetable is being cooked for us to consume. Bitter gourd, as the name suggests, is bitter. So children and even elderly people, a lot of them may not like bitter gourd. But the mother will make it for us because it is good for our health. Though it is good for our health, it is not tasty. Whatever is tasty for us, imagine there are 10 kinds of sweets made in our house. It is very tasty. One over the other, they are much more tastier. But is it good for our health? If you go to the doctor, he will say cut down on sweets. So whatever is good for the tongue, nice for the tongue, may not be good for the health. Whatever is good for the health may not be good to the tongue. But how is Mahalakshmi? If I look at her, my eyes are captured by the radiance. Hiranya Varnam, she is very beautiful. At the same time, as I keep looking at her, the positivity, the optimism factor develops in me, and that is also good for my body and family. So she is both Hitam and Ramaniyam. That is what the commentator says. Hita Ramaniyam, Hitatvam, Apekshitartha Sadhakatvam, Ramaniyatvam, Prityanurupatvam. Ramaniyatvam. Why is she Ramaniyam? So he says, Vedacharya says, Prityanurupatvam. She has got a very beautiful form, which is Ramaniyatvam. Why is she Hitam, Hitatvam, Apekshitartha Sadhakatvam? She will ensure we always take the path which is good for the Chetanojjivanam, for the Ujjivanam of the Jivatma. So Hita Ramaniyam, Hiranya Varnam. Then she is gold color, resplendent, she bestows good. There is, now Vedacharya says, Hiranya Varnam, gold in color, complexion. There is a beautiful shloka, a verse from Lakshmi Sahasram, a kavyam by Venkatadhwari Kavi, who says like this: Yaste Rupam Upaste, Shubham Prapannam Shriyam Haridrajam, Tatkratunayena Savahet, Amutra Janani Shriyam Haridrajam. So he says, by Tatkratu Nayena, there is a Tatkratu Nyayam. What does Tatkratu Nyayam state? That if I keep thinking of a certain object, if I keep thinking of a certain entity, while about my Jivatma is about to depart from the body. In that case, Shastram says that whatever you think of, whatever form you think of, as the Jivatma is about to exit the material body, in the subsequent birth, you shall be that. For example, I am in the ICU, where nurses are attending to me. I keep looking at the nurse. By Tatkratu Nyayam, as my Jivatma departs from the Panchabhautika Shariram, it means that the next Janmam I will be that of a nurse, a male nurse or a female nurse. The gender may vary, but I will be a nurse. So this is Tatkratu Nayena. That's what the Kavi says. Tatkratu Nayena Savahet Amutra Janani Shriyam Haridrajam. What he says is, by this Nyayam, I keep meditating upon Sri Mahalakshmi, who is of the complexion of gold. Now, as I keep meditating upon Mahalakshmi, who is Hiranyavarnam, and my Jivatma departs from the body, what will I be? I will get moksham. If I get moksham, what does it mean? Haridrajam, which means I will also obtain the complexion of gold because I will be a Muktatma in Sri Vaikuntham. Thereby, if I meditate upon Mahalakshmi, who is Hiranyavarnam, I may also subsequently become Hiranyavarnam. So, He Agne, Hey Lakshmi Pate, bring that entity to my house. Who is that entity? Hiranyavarnam, the one who is gold in complexion. Next epithet which is used is Harineem. Haritavarnam, Haridrabam. Either she could be yellow in color, which could be magnified as gold. Sarva Papa Harana Sheelam, the one who has the power, the authority with her to annihilate, to eradicate the various papams, the various sins that have been committed in the past by the Jivatma. Sarva Papa Harana Sheelam, Sarva Lakshana Papa Harana Sheelam. Bhagavan, what is that papam? You are saying that she will help eradicate or annihilate the papams. But what is that papam? Bhagavan Nigraha Eva Papaha. By obtaining the anger of the Lord, we might have committed an act which would have caused anger to the Lord, to Lord Sriman Narayana. That anger has come because of an act we have committed. That act in itself becomes papam. Bhagavan Nigraha Eva Papaha. Shrihi Tat Anugraham Avahati. Then on our behalf, Mahalakshmi goes and recommends. She says, do not punish this child, do not reprimand this child, do not scold this child, please forgive. So, Shrihi tat anugraham avahati, tada nigraho nashtaha eva ataha haranashila. Thereby taking away his nigraham, the anger that he has on us, she becomes sarva papa haranashilam, harineem. Next, it also means, Harini also means a black doe, Krishna Mrigi. Now, based on this meaning that she is Harini, she is the she deer, which is a doe, there is a shlokam. Hiranyam Vishnurakyastasya varnastu Vaishnavi, Lakshmir Hiranyavarneti Shruyate Kanakaprabha. Harineem tu Haref Patni Daridya Harini, Prapadyeham Haridrabham Hiranyakshim Hiranmayim. I worship that gold complexioned deity called as Lakshmi. Vishnurakyastasya varnastu Vaishnavi. She is the Vaishnavi. She is Vishnu Patni Vaishnavi. Lakshmir Hiranyavarneti Shruyate Kanakaprabha. She has got the complexion or the splendor as that of gold. Now, this yellow color or gold color is also associated with turmeric. So, she is Haridra. Haridra also means turmeric. Why? Because Hr means as the dhatu. Hr means, the dhatu means to ward away, to chase away. So, she chases away the sins. So, she gets rid of the sins. Now, there is another shloka by Venkatadhwari Kavi which goes like this. Sharanya Bhutam Shrutirindireyam Hiranya Varnam Harinima Bhanit Sadivya Simhasya Hiranya Bhettuhu Nishankamanke Ramase Katham Tvam. Now, Hari means the one who takes away or robs away the sins we have committed. Harir harati papani. So the sins we have committed is taken away secretly by Hari. That Hari also means, the word Hari also means Simham, which is a lion. So on Hari, who is Narasimha, sits Mahalakshmi, who is Harini. The poet wonders, in this world generally Harini runs away from Hari. Hari is lion, Harini is a female, is a black-eyed doe, the female deer. The female deer always runs away from the lion because the lion may chase it and consume it. So it will run. But the poet wonders, Harini runs away from Hari, but here you look, Harini, whose Mahalakshmi, is seated on Narasimha, whose Hari. So Sadivya Simhasya Hiranya Bhettuhu Nishankamanke Ramase Katham Tvam. He says. Now, what is the other meaning to Harini? There are two meanings assigned by the commentator. Harim Nayatiti Harini, the one who leads Hari is called as Harini. Harina Niyate Harini, the one who is being led by Hari is called as Harini. In Srimad Rāmāyanam, while Rama was asked to go to the forest, he comes and tells Sita, Sita, I will go to the forest, you stay back. She tells, don't worry Rama, you may want to leave me in Ayodhya because you may be afraid of the thorns and the sharp stones on your path in the forest. Do not worry, I shall walk in front of you, remove those thorns and stones and make the path thorn free for you. Harim Nayatiti Harini. In reality, when Rama and Sita and Lakshmana walked in the forest, Rama walked in the first, Sita in the middle, Lakshmana towards the end. That is why Harina Niyate iti Harini. She is being led by Hari. So that is why she is called Harini. So Hiranyavarnam Harinim. What is the next description given by Vedacharya? Suvarna Rajatasrajam. Suvarnasya Pushpani Suvarnani. So imagine that there are flowers of gold petals. They should be of gold. Suvarnasya Pushpani Suvarnani. Evam Rajatasya Rajatani Tesham Srajo Mala. Similarly, there are flowers made up of silver. So there is a golden flower, there is a silver flower. There is a golden flower, there is a silver flower. One above the other, one above the other, there is a mala. Suvarna Srajam, Rajata Srajam, Suvarna, Rajata. So Suvarna Srajam, Rajata Srajam. Evam Rajatasya Rajatani Tesham Srajo Mala. Yasyastam Srak Sahacharyat Pushpani Tyagva Gamyate. Pushpa Sadrishyat Pushpa Paletyadina Lut. This look, Hema Raupyam Ayakamala Malam. So it consists of silver and gold. Why should there be a combination? First of all, why can't it be entirely gold? Hiranyavarnam. So Hiranyasrajam, Suvarnasrajam. Why should it be Suvarnasrajam, Rajatasrajam? Why should it have silver and gold? For this we need to understand this beautiful shlokam from Srimad Rāmāyana. Divakara Samakaram Deeptanala Shikhopamam Tapta Jambudanamaim Rajatanta Parichadam. The payasam came from Agni. How did it come? It came in a golden pot with a silver lid. Divakara Samakaram Deeptanala Shikhopamam Tapta Jambudanamaim Rajatanta Parichadam. It has got a silver lid, a golden pot with a silver lid. What came in that kheer? Payasam came. Now when Dasharatha had to distribute, he had to distribute amongst his principal wives 50%, 25%, 12.5%, 12.5%. He distributed. But how did it come? It came in this form. Why? Asks the commentator. Many Acharyas have stated this, that it came in a golden pot with a silver lid for two reasons. One, silver can ward away, by doing silver dhanam, anything related to silver, we can ward away the sins that we have committed towards the pitrus, towards our forefathers. If we give away dhanam based on gold, Swarna Dhanam, then we can ward away the sins that we have committed to Devas. Dasharatha was unaware what all sins he had committed in the past, either in this Janma or in his previous Janmas, because of which he did not have children for a very long time after having given away his daughter Shanta in adoption to Romapada. Desirous of sons, he performed this yajna. But he was worried, what if I do not, I am not able to seek emancipation for my sins. So that is why he was worried about how to get the sins that he had committed towards Devas and the Pitrus. That is why, in a way, in a fashion to show that he had gotten rid of it, it was in a golden pot with a silver lid. This is one meaning. The other meaning is gold, which is aurum, has the ability to always expel heat. That is why we wear gold chains, golden kadas, because the body heat, the excess heat will always be thrown out to the atmosphere by gold. Whereas silver, argentum, has the property to retain heat, is what many scholars say. That is why in those days, even today, many of them have food on silver plates, because the heat of that food is retained. The payasam which came out of the Agni could have been very hot if it had been a silver pot with a silver lid. It would have got all the heat dissipated, all the heat would have gone away, and it would have come to a normal condition had it been completely of gold. So, in order to ensure that the payasam is neither too hot nor too cold, it came in a golden pot with a silver lid. Similarly, the sins that we have committed, those sins are burning. So, the moment our mother Sri Mata Mahalakshmi adopts us as her children, at the moment she showers mercy on us, what will happen is the papam which was now burning had to be expelled. It was initially retained as silver, Rajatasrajam. Later, because of her mercy, it became Suvaranasrajam. So the heat has to go away. So it's a combination of the sins which have to be retained, and later by the grace of Mahalakshmi which has to be expelled. So Suvaranasrajam, Rajatasrajam. So Suvarana, Rajatasrajam. Who is she? Chandra. Chadi ahladane, that which ensures cooling, is called as Chandra. Chandravatu prakashamanam nitya ahlada karinim va, the one who is always resplendent, the one ahlada karinim, the one who cools, is called as Chandra. Chandravat prakashamanam, Chandravat prakashamanam, the one who is as resplendent as the moon. Sakala jana ahlada karinim, Sakala jana, for all the people, ahlada karinim, the one who ensures that there is ahladam, there is always cooling, soothing, karinim, the one who instigates this cooling process. Since she delights everybody, shines brightly, she is Chandra. Now, why is she so cool in nature? Great poets and acharyas have questioned this. There is one shloka which goes like this: Karyeshu karana gunaha niyatam bhavanti iti uktim satam avitatham avadharayamaha chandri kalacha bhavati cha yatodhi madhyat jate yadamba sudhaya dayaya cha shite. Here the poet says, generally the end products will always have some qualities that the raw products, the reactants, have. Since moon and you, Chandradeva, and you are cool in nature, you must all be associated with the raw material, which is Samudra Raja. Because of the Amritam inside him, Sudha inside him, he shines, he is cool. Because of Daya inside you, you shine and you are cool. So Chandra. The other beautiful shloka is Angam te mridushita mugdha madurair darair gunair gumbhataha kshirabdhehe kimru jishatam upagata manye mahardhastataha induhu kalpalata sudha madumukha ityavilam varnanam Srirangeshwari shanta kritrima katham divyam vapurnarhati. So all the entities that emerged out of the Samudra Raja while he was being churned by the Devas and Asuras included the Chandra, Varuni, Sudha, which is Amritam, then we had Uchchaishravas, Kamadhenu, then we had Chintamani, Kaustubhamani, all these gems, this wish-yielding tree called as Kalpakam, wish-yielding cow called as Kamadhenu, the wish-yielding stone called as Chintamani, the very, very intoxicating Varuni, the one that can always grant youthfulness like Sudha, which is Amritam, all this arose from Samudra Raja while he was being churned. The poet says, it seems while these objects were resting together at the bottom of the ocean, then Samudra Raja thought that he has to create a creation which is unparalleled. So he squeezed the moon, got the freshness from it. He squeezed Sudha, Amritam, got the youthfulness from it. Squeezed Kalpaka Vriksham, Kamadhenu, Chintamani and got the wish-yielding capability from all of them. Then he squeezed the intoxicating ability from Varuni. All these best qualities together he coupled and put them into Mahalakshmi. So Mahalakshmi is a personification of Chandra, Chandradeva's coolness, the intoxicating ability of Varuni, the youthfulness granting capacity of Sudha, the wish-yielding capacity of Chintamani, Kamadhenu, then you've got Kalpaka Vriksham. So all this together Mahalakshmi came. Angam te mrudushita mugdha maduror darair gunair gumbhataha kshirabdehe kimrujishata mupagata manye maharghastataha indukkalpalata sudha madumukha ityavilam varnanam Srirangeshwari shanta kritrima katham divyam vyapurnarhati. Now, this is the meaning associated with this. Now, Hiranmayim, Hemadi Sakala Sampad Bhairopetam, Atayeva Lakshmi Matsamipam Ahuya, Sannidhapaya Ityartaha, Hemadi Sakala. So, take all the gold associated ornaments on vessels in this world, Sannidhapaya, the one, they all rest in one central peace, central power, that is Mahalakshmi. Hiranmayim, Hiranya Swarupam, Hiranya Vigrahamba, Hiranyardi Sarvadhanaf Prachuram, the one who is the representative of anything which is associated with gold or optimism. Lakshmi, what is her name? Hiranyavarnam, Harinim, Suvarna Rajatasrajam, Chandram, Hiranmayim. Who is she? Next Nama, Lakshmi, Lakshanavati, Lakshmir Labadva Lakshanad iti, Sarva Surasura Manuja Munindradibhir Lakshaniyam, Prarthaniyam, Sarvaishwarya Nimitta Bhuta Divya Lakshana Sampannam va. The one who is Divya Lakshana Sampanna, the one who has got all the angams, her parts, which are with Divya Lakshanam, divine measurement by Samudrika Lakshana Shastram. So she has got she's got auspicious marks, she's got an altruistic form, she enhances the virtues. Lashati, the one who helps in the attainment. Lapsyanat, accomplish. Lanchanath, through the symbols, is called Lakshmi. When Markandeya Maharshi had desired to understand how Pralayakalam will look while he was performing meditation in the Naranarayana Parvatam, the Lord appeared and said, yes, you will be able to see, and that very moment he was able to see Pralayam. As he swam through the deluge waters, he saw a beautiful leaf, and on that leaf was a little blue-hued child. He went and asked that child, who are you? The child started to suck his big toe from his foot. But Markandeya could not understand. That very moment the boy showed his chest where he could see Hiranya Varnam Harinim. Since Mahalakshmi was visible to the eyes of Markandeya Maharshi, and thereby he could decipher that this child is nobody but Sri Mahavishnu himself, Mahalakshmi becomes the Lakshanam. She becomes the identification mark of the Lord. So she is called Lakshmi. Chandram, Hiranmayim, Lakshmi, Jataveda, hey fire, bring her to me. Next Rik. Tam avaha jatavedo Lakshmim anapagaminim yasyam hiranyam vindeyam gamashvam purushanaham. He jataveda Shriyapate agne tvam shrotragne tvam purvokta samasta gunam. So the one who is endowed with all the great auspicious attributes as mentioned before, anapagaminim, apagamana rahitam, chanchalya rahitam, anapayinim. The one who will once come will never go back. Apagamana rahitam, chanchalya rahitam. She doesn't have the chanchalatvam. Kadachidapi mam tyaktva anyatra gantum anudyuktam madekashraya nishtam. The one who is always seeking asylum in me. Anapagamini. Next, gridhrascha pariliyante parim upari pinditaha. Upapannascha sandhye dve vyaharantya shivam shivaha. This is in contrast to what is being mentioned. Vedacharya says, since she is the personification or repository of all that which is auspicious in this world, let her come to me. The opposite is being said in this shloka. In the Upodghatam, at the commencement of Yuddha Kandam, Vibhishana goes and tells Ravana, because the entire city had been burnt by Hanuman. He tells, all this you had invited Ravana. The moment this lady Sita has put her foot in Lanka, bad things are happening. Dormant volcanoes are bursting. There has been famine noted in certain places. It has been noted that the vultures are going here and there. Generally they go when there is dead body. People are dying for no lame or reason. So there must be something which is bad. And then he says, Ashivaha, Ashivam Shivaha. So the jackals are always howling, which is a sign of inauspiciousness. Upapannascha sandhye dve vyaharantya shivam shivaha. Tamma avaha. Tadrishim Vakshamanam Akarasya Ahvaya Preshya. Please send her to me. Now, how is she? Yasyam Mahalakshmyam Sampraptayam Satyam Shri Devyam Ahutayam Satyam Lakshmyam Agatayam Satyam. So, I shall tell with all due honesty, let that Sri Mahalakshmi come to my house. Vindeyam. Now I pray, I prostrate in front of you. Avashyam prapnuyam labheyam. I surely need her to come and bless in my house. Yasyam Hiranyam. What does Hiranyam mean? Suvarnam, Suvarnadi Rupam, Kanakadi Vastuni. Gold, gold made ornaments, gold made utensils, whatever be it. Hiranyam, Gam. What else should she give me? Payasvinim Dhenum Pashum. She has to give milk yielding, always milk yielding cows, bovine like. Now we may be wondering, sir, when we are living in apartments, where will I buy the cow? If Mahalakshmi gives a cow, where will I keep that cow? So what we must assume is all the dhanya samriddhi we have in our house, be it milk, curd, ghee, butter and so on, all of it will be non-perishables. They will keep coming. They will, like renewable energy, it will keep coming by her grace. Gam. Ashvam. Ashwadi Sampadam Prajavam Vajinam Vindeyam. So Ashwadi, horses and horse-like creatures will be blessed. Why? Turagadi Vahana Viseshan. In those days when people had to protect their family, their society, their village, their province, they will always have 4 kinds of divisions in their army. Ratha, Gaja, Turaga, Padadi. Ratham, Gajam, Turaga, Padadi. Ratha is chariot, Gaja elephant, Turaga horses, Padadi people who walk on foot, soldiers. All 4 of them will be blessed, it seems. In our terms, if we have to understand, we will be blessed with the right amount of prosperity with respect to vehicles. Suppose if I don't want to use a vehicle of my own, metro station will come closer to me. If I want to use a vehicle of my own, I may get a 2-wheeler. But if I am very worried about going by a 2-wheeler, I may get a 4-wheeler. So whichever legitimate interest one asks based on one's karma, that will be granted. Ashvam. Purushan. What else will she grant? Kalatra putra mitra dasi dasadi narasampadam cha dasa sishyadi paricharikams cha. So what she will bless is Kalatra putra, be it a husband, be it the son, be it son or daughter, because putra shabdam denotes son or daughter. Kalatra putra mitra, friend. Dasi dasadi, there will be plenty of servants in our house. So what it means is we will also be able to enjoy the riches that we have. So all that, how is that possible? Purushan, by the grace of Lakshmi. Now, while we mention about cows, we mention about horses, we mention about milk products, we mention about gold, we mention about children, we mention about the maid servants that we have, all this has been put together in the form of a cow. So cow is no different from Mahalakshmi. Cow's grace is no different from Mahalakshmi's daya. There is a Mahābhārata vachanam on this. Gavo Lakshmyaha sadamulam goshu papmana vidyate annameva sadagavo devanam paramam havihi tejasa vapusha chaiva gavo vanni samabhuvi. So here Vedacharya says, Vanni Samabhuvi, be it Agni, because of which you are performing the sacrifice, Hey Agni, Hey Lakshmi Pate, give me that cow which is actually the personification of Sri Mahalakshmi's grace. Now, why is she called Anapagamini? There is one shloka in Lakshmi Tantram. It goes like this. Saham Saraswati Bhutva Tamapovaha Shatravat Rishayo Mama Chakururme Tada Hyanapagamini. The one who came with the intent to destroy the Yajnavatika of Vasishtha, who is Saraswati Devi, even then Vasishtha tried to invoke the grace of Sri Mahalakshmi, and Mahalakshmi came and protected the sacrifice, thereby stopping the flooding waters of Saraswati, which was the river then. Saham Saraswati Bhutva Tamapovaha Shatravat Rishayo Mamacharkurme Tada Hyanapagamini. So she is called Hyanapagamini. The third rik. Ashvapurvam Rathamadhyam Hastinada Prabodhinim Shriyam Devim Upahvaye Shrirma Devi Jushatam. Ashvapurvam. Now the entire structure of how Mahalakshmi comes is being described. Ashvapurvam. Ashvaha Purve Purogaha Yasyastam. The horses are in the forefront. Next, Ratha Madhyam. Rathaha Madhye Yasyastam. In the middle is a Ratham. Next, Hastinada Prabodhinim. Hastinam Nadena Brahmitena Prabodhinim Prakarshanena Jnapikam. The one whose appearance is heralded by the elephants. Ashvapurvam Rathamadhyam Hastinada Prabodhinim. Ashvapurvam. Ashvo Vyapanashilo Bhagavan Saha Purvaha Praveshiko Yasyastam Yatha Sarvagato Vishnu Tathaivyam Dvijotamaha Rathanam Rahanashilanam Jivanam Madhye Hridaya Guhayam Yatishtati Sa Rathamadya Yadva Ratha Shariram Shariram Rathamevacha Iti Shrutehe Vishnu Sharira Madhye Tad Vakshasi Sthitam Ityartaha Hastino Gajavrindasya Artanade Satishwaradapi Prathama Prabodhashilam Artha Samrakshane Nathadapi Tvaramanam Ityartaha. So Ashvapurvam, the horses are in the front. What do these horses represent? They represent the grandeur with which the queen comes. It also means Ratha Madhyam. The body is the Ratham. Ashvapurvam, the sound that comes in front is Ashvapurvam. Hastino, for which Vedacharya says, Swa Ratha Shariram Rathamevacha iti shrutehe. Krishna mentions that his body is the chariot. Vishnu Sharira Madhye Tad Vakshasi Sthitam Ityartaha. So it is not in the middle of the chariot. What is that Ratham? Ratham is the Lord himself. So in that Lord, Radha Madhyam, in that Madhya, in that chest region is Mahalakshmi. Hastino Gajavrindasya Artanade Satishwaradapi Prathama Bodha Shilam. When the devotees cry out of help, cry for help, they cry because they have got that pain, that artham, that got that trouble to overcome that. When they cry out for help, you are the one who goes and helps. Next, Ash also means to spread. That Ashva, the root word Ash, means to engulf, to pervade. Since the pervading capacity is with the Lord, he is called Ashvaha. Ashvapurvam, it has two meanings, which means the Lord is walking in front of Mahalakshmi. Ashvapurvam. As the Lord walks in the front, Mahalakshmi follows. Agrataf prayayau Ramaha Sita Madhye Sumadhyama. The other meaning in Bahuvrihi Samasam, Ashvapurvam, the one who walks in front of the horses, which means the horses Ashva, who is Vishnu, in front of him Lakshmi should walk. Where does she walk? She tells in Srimad Rāmāyanam, I shall walk in front of you, take away the thorns and the sharp stones so that you can walk. Since she is walking in front of Ashva, who is Vishnu, she is called as Ashvapurva. Since he walks in front of her, he is called as Ashva. So Ashvapurva, Ratham, the body is the Ratham. Rathamadhyam, in the middle of that body is Mahalakshmi. Chest of Vishnu is Mahalakshmi. Hastinadam Kona Patra Gajair Hema Kalashair Amrutodakaihi Sadabhi Chishyamanantam Bodhyamanas Gajai Gajaihi. So the 4 elephants which are the Dwara elephants, that which supports the entire earth, which was witnessed in Balakandam of Srimad Rāmāyanam, when the sons of Sagara happened to dig earth to search the sacrificial horse, they come across the Mastakam portion of the elephants. Hastinadam Ashva Purvahani Chasmi Vasami cha Puresada Buddhiv Prana Sharirake Trividhe Trividhatmana Ashvanam Heshavannadam Yogarambhe Karomi cha Nadi Madhyam Samayata Karomi Rathavadvanim Vyomarandhram Anuprapta Hastinada Vinodini Yogino Yatamatmanam Mam Tridhaivam Pradipere. So he talks about the 3 sounds that are associated. When the Jivatma, which is housed inside the inverted lotus here, which is slightly above the diaphragm region, from that 101 nadis go. So when the Jivatma has to depart, there are 3 kinds of sounds made, it seems. He says, Nadi Madhyam Samayata Karomi Rathavadhvanim. First, it makes the sound of the neighing of a horse. So horse's neighing sound comes Ashvapurvam. Ratham Madhyam. So Rathamadhyam. So in the middle, Rathamadhyam is the sound of the moving of a chariot. Hastinada Prabodhini. Then comes the sound of the elephants when it reaches the Brahmarandram. Yogino Yatamatmanam Mam Tridaivam Pradepire. So this is the sound that is being made. So here he says Ashvapurvam, Rathamadhyam, Hastinada Prabodhini. To that Mahalakshmi who comes with this grandeur, who is she? Shriyam. Shrayaniyam Senarupam Prakashaika Mayim Lakshmi. The one who is always of the great splendor. That Lakshmi. Devim Devanashilam Dyotanashilamba Devatamba Rupa Sarvaihi Samashayaniyam Devanashilam Dyotanashilam. The one Devim, the one who is celebrated as Devi. Divu Kridayam Dhatu. The root word for Deva or Devi Shabdam is Divu. Divu means to play. The one who plays with the Jivatmas, the one who plays with the worlds is called Deva. The one who plays with the Deva is Devi. To that Shriyam Devi, Sarvaihi Samashayaniyam, Shrayate iti Shrihi. She seeks asylum in Paramatma, who is Narayana. Shriyate iti Shrihi. All the Jivatmas seek asylum at Shri. So all the Jivatmas in this world seek asylum at Shri. Shri seeks asylum at her pati Narayana. So Shrayate iti Shrihi, Shriyate iti Shrihi. Tena maitri bhavatute. So both of you should enjoy great friendship. So Tena maitri bhavatute. Because of friendship, says Valmiki Rāmāyanam. So that is why Sri Mahalakshmi tells, O Ravana, you make friendship with Rama. I am advising you as a mother. He will not do any harm. So she ensures that the Jivatma comes in contact with the Paramatma. Tena maitri bhavatute. Ri himsayam, the one who removes obstacles. Ra dane, the one who grants wishes to the devotees, is Devim. Ma, mam pitya, to me. Upahvaye, samipam pratyahvaye, come closer to me. Jushatam, sevatam nityam sannihita. I now worship that Mahalakshmi, sannihita, who is very close to me. Hey mother, grant me that grace. This is the meaning of the third rik. Now let us go to the fourth rik. Kam, sosmitam, hiranya prakaram, ardram, jwalantim, triptam, tarpayantim. Padme sthitam padmavarnam tamihopahvaye shriyam. Kam. The first invocation that we do to Mahalakshmi in the fourth rik is Kam. What does Kam mean? Vanim Vakyarupam. The one who is being praised by the Vedas. Vedas themselves say, see, you are being praised by us, you are Kam. Next, Sukhaswarupam, the one who is the personification of bliss, happiness, prosperity. That Sukhaswarupam. Sukham iti kosheshu kam. So kam also means Sukharupam. So kam means the one who is the personification of Sukham. Priyatu Sita Ramasya Daraha Pitrakrita iti. towards the end of Balakandam, when Rama and Sita were married, he was married at the age of 12, she was married at the age of 6. While as a couple they lived in Ayodhya for another set of 12 years, Valmiki concludes this beautiful portion. He says how they lived happily, why they lived happily. Priya tu Sita Ramasya, that Sita who's the beloved of Rama was Daraha Pitrikrita iti. They lived happily because she was chosen to Rama by his father. So parents in those days had a huge role to play in the selection of the bride and grooms. That may not be completely relevant or valid today. We are not here to critically analyze or evaluate which is right, whether that system was right or this system was right. But Valmiki says, Daraha Pitrikrita iti. In Rama and Sita lived happily because she was the one chosen by Dasharatha for Rama. Guna Drupa Gunachapi Pritir Bhuyobhivardhate. So each one, to Rama it was Sita, to Sita it was Rama. Their qualities were absorbed by each other so much and they relished each other's qualities so much because Daraha Pitrikrita iti. She was chosen or he was chosen or both of them were chosen for each other by their parents. Namami Bhargavim Khyatim Sukham Saumyam Sukhapradam. I worship that daughter of Bhargava Maharshi. See, she's called, she came in the clan of Bhrigu. So she is called Bhargavi. Namami Bhargavim Khyatim Sukham Saumyam Sukhapradam. She is the one who is the very personification of Sukha, Sukha Swarupini. Since she is Sukha Swarupini, she is called as calm. Sosmitam. What does Sosmitam mean? The commentator says, Sa, Sa, A, Ut, Smita, Smitam, iti Chedaha, A, Samantan Mukha, Kamalam, Vyapya Udgatam Yat, Smitam Modahasyam, Tena Sahitam. The one who has got Modahasyam, the one who is very pleasing and the one who smiles. Hasyam. It is not laughter. The way she smiles itself is so cooling. Ishat ut. Udhritam yat smitam hasaha tena sahitam. Ut. Ut, the Lord is called Ut. The one who stays with Ut, udhritam yat smitam. As she stays with Ut, she has got smita, pride. She has got smile. So she is called as tena sahitam. Utkrishta smitena sahitam. Utsmaya Sahitam. So she is called Smita, Utsmita, Sosmita. So Sosmitam. Bhagavat Samshlesha Janita Mahananda Nimagnataya Sarvada Smayamanam. The one who is got the unceasing company of her with the Lord is the cause of her smile. So there is always very good association of her with the Lord, thereby because of which she has got a smile. Vedanta Deshika indicates the smile of the presiding deity of Kanchipuram. In Purusha Suktam, Sahasrakshaha denotes Kanchipuram Varadaraja, right? The one who came from the Vedika, performed by Brahma. So there the Patta Mahishi of Varadaraja is called Mahadevi in Sanskritam. In Tamil language she is called Perum Devi. If you go have a glimpse of that goddess, Vedanta Deshika recommends the devotee to stand in a diametrically opposite fashion so that you can see how she smiles. So he says, Smeravaktra Vibhasi. Smeravaktra means the one who smiles. So here it is, Ishat Ut Udhatam Yat Smitam Hasaha Tena Sahitam Utkrishta Smitena Sahitam Utsmaya Sahitam Bhagavat Samslesha Janita Mahananda Nimagnataya Sarvada Smayamanam. The one who has got the unceasing company of the Lord. Thereby she has got that smile. Sa Yesho Antaraditya Hiranmaya Purusho Drishyate. In the middle of that Surya Mandalam, Antaraditya, in that Aditya, is that Lord. That Lord is called Ut. So Asmita is Smita. Asmita, that pride is denoted by the word Smita. So Ut, keep it on one side. Smita, you keep it on the other side. This Ut plus Smita, that Smita, that smile and pride of the goddess as she stays with Ut, become Utsmita. Here, Utsmita saha varteta iti sosmita. The one who is always there with the Utsmita is the Sosmita. So, Usmitaya, Sosmita is Mahalakshmi. Prayaste, how is her smile so beautiful? Where did it all engulf? It came to the entire face region and to her lips. Through Shringara Shastram, Venkatadhvari Kavi says, we keep telling in Krishna Avataram, Krishna played the flute. Sweet melodious music came out of that flute. How did that sound come out? How did that music come out? Because the Lord's lips is associated with that bamboo, with that flute. How did the power of melody come to his lips? Because he would have kissed the lips of Mahalakshmi, who is Sosmita. Thereby he would have got that sweetness on his lips, and that sweetness was transformed into the flute, and thereby the flute emanated good melodious music. Prayaste jagadamba chumbana vidhau bimbadhara lambanam sankrantam madhunandanandana mukhe sangeeta kalef punaha tasmad venumavapa tadgatarasa swadi tadatisaya Vamshan Krishna Purandri Randhrayati Kim Tadvamsha Jatannalihi. Thereby that music emanated because of his association with the flute, the association of his lips with the flute, the association of his lips with that of Mahalakshmi's lips, the association of her smile with her lips. Thereby Sosmita gave rise to the good melody that came from the flute. Now, how is she calm? Sosmitam Hiranya Prakaram. The one, what does Hiranya Prakaram mean? Hiranyasya Prakaro Varnaha Prakrishya Akritirva Yasyahatam Nanaratnamaya Suvarnamaya Prakara Parivrittanandamaya Divya Mandana Pantar Nivasinim. The one who is soaked in compassion. She is dripping in compassion, on mercy, on karuna. So those karuna come in the form of pitchers, mugs, and have been showered. She is already the personification of compassion. That compassion is over and above showered on her by the elephants. Next, Bringi Sangeet Yudaya Subhagam Manju Kinjalka Punja Sparastambham Kimapi Vikasat Patra Sachitra Bhitti Paryaslishtam Vimala Sarasa Karnika Swarna Peetham Padmam Vidmaha Paramanugunam Sadma Bhavatyaha. So here the Kavi says, Hey Mata Mahalakshmi, lotus is your palace. Now when the queens or the kings in those days had to wake up in the mornings, the Vedic bards would come and recite panktis from Veda. The instrumentalists used to come and play the instruments, be it veena or flute. Then you had poets who used to come and sing praises of the king or the queen. Then the pashu, cow, used to come and stand and show its backside, so that which is a sign of prosperity as per Hindu belief, to wake the king or the queen up. So similarly, the lotus is the palace for Mahalakshmi. In that palace there have to be bards who sing great praises of her. The buzzing bees that goes around her, the lotus, they are singing praises. That sound is singing praises, it seems. The stamens which are found inside the flower, they are the pillars. So she attached to the pillars are the beautiful chains of pollen grains where she swings. Then the pink petals are the walls. Imagine the insides of the lotus petals, they are pink in nature. Now around that lotus flower there is water. It looks like a moat, like Venice or any of the other islands. So there is water around the lotus which looks like the moat. The petals of the lotus look like the walls of the palace. The stamens look like the pillars. The pollen grains arranged in a certain fashion becomes the swing where she can sit. And the dais where she sits centrally is the golden seat, which is her seat. So Padmam Vidmaha Param Anugunam Sadma Bhavatyaha, says the poet. So Hiranya Prakaram. So she has got golden colored petals around her. Now when I mentioned about that shloka, I said she has got pink like lotus-like petals around her. How did it turn gold? She is Hiranyavarnam, she is Lakshmi, her reflection of gold is falling on the petals. So the petals also look gold in color. Hiranya Prakaram Ardram. The next nama, Klinnam, Kshirodadher Utpannatvat, Ardra Nakshatrotpannam. Maybe she was born on the day of Ardra Nakshatram, because Ardra and Shravanam. Shravana is the nakshatram of Vishnu. Ardra is the nakshatram of Lord Shiva. These two names in the Tamil calendar become Tiruvadirai. Ardra becomes Tiruvadirai and Shravanam becomes Tiruvonam. These are the two nakshatras in the Tamil calendar. Only two nakshatras which have got the association of the word Tiru. Tiru in Sanskrit, in Tamil, means Shri of Sanskritam. So Shri Mahalakshmi is associated with Tiruvadirai and Tiruvonam, which is Ardra and Shravanam. So he continues, Rudra Rupamba Adraya Rudraha Prathamana Etidyadau Tatha Darshanat Komala Svabhavam Sneha Purna Hridayamba. Sneha Purnam, the one whose heart is filled with compassion. Sneha in Sanskritam means that which is greasy in nature. Ghee is greasy in nature. Greasy means attached. That is why love. I love my child loves me. I love my wife loves me. I love my parents love me. So this love is an attachment. Since greasy nature is also attachment, sneha means greasy nature. Since greasy means attachment, even our love towards our kith and kin is called sneham. So sneha purnam va. Here the commentator says, Shitala Gunam, the one who is very compassionate by nature. Dayardra Hridayam, the one whose heart is filled of compassion towards the devotees. So that looks wet in nature, it is not dry, wet. That is Ardraamba. Karunam Lokamataram, Karuna Bhaktavatsala. So these are the names given to Mahalakshmi by Lakshmi Ashtotram in Sahasranamam. Matar Maithili, Rakshasi Stvadidadaiva Ardra Paradastvaya, Rakshantya Pavanatmaja Lagutara Ramasya Goshti Krita, Kakam Tancha Vibhishanam Sharanamityukti Kshamau Rakshataha, Sanas Sandra Mahagasaha Sukhayatu, Kshanti Stavakasmiki. The poet asks, on one side is Vibhishana, the brother to Ravana, who comes from Lanka to Bharata Desham, pleads for mercy, asking him for giving asylum, seeking asylum from Rama. There is this Kakasura, the son of Indra, who committed sins against Mahalakshmi. He did not even open. Later he fell at Rama's feet and finally his eye was taken and then he was granted asylum. So this is on one side. They all sought asylum at the feet of Rama. They got asylum in one way or the other. On the other side are the Rakshasis of Sundarakandam in Ashokavanam. They tortured Sita. When Trijata said seek Sita's asylum, they did not. But Sita said, in case the dream that you have seen that Rama and I will come together, do not worry, these Rakshasis will not have any harm caused by the monkeys or by my husband. I give assurance. On one side, Vibhishana seeking asylum. The Lord is taking time. On the other side, the Rakshasis did not even ask asylum. Sita is giving asylum. So who is better? If you fall in Rama's Goshti, Rama's side, you have to seek asylum. You may or may not get. On the other side is Mahalakshmi's Goshti, where even the very thought that you want to seek asylum, you will get asylum.